Hey everyone, welcome back to another portfolio update video on the channel. Portfolio is currently sitting at $7,970.84, and we've gone back to the most boring portfolio of all time. In fact, even more boring than when I invested into SPLG, because at least then I had SoFi shares and I was also selling options. Nope, this time it is completely boring, most boring as possible as we can make it. I finally did this for a few reasons. Tons of work managing all that option selling stuff. Tons and tons of work, and stress, and all for about half the return of the S&P 500, which is terrible. And like I said, I've been saying this every single video since I started that experiment. This is an experiment. I know investing in SPY is the best option, but I'm doing this as a way of testing this out, giving it one last crack. I was saying that for a couple weeks, and finally I'm closing that experiment down and going with this. So I leveled the account value to $8,000 after selling out everything, and then I invested all of that into SPY. As you can see, let's get down here. $8,000 SPY, 15.72 shares. So all that money is in here. On top of that, I turned off options in this account, I turned off margin investing in this account, and I closed Robinhood Gold. All just because I don't want any kind of temptations or emotions getting in the way of what I'm trying to do here. I want this to be a strictly forever hold account. And on a side note, I do also have a Webull account that has options trading active, which I'll likely start to make videos on and trade options on that account. But just have this as my forever hold account that I don't trade options or trade actively in anymore. Only reason for that is because, of course, this is the best way to go forever. And on top of that, I know that this channel was made for options, and people will subscribe to this channel to watch me trade options. So nobody wants to watch this content. So of course I'm going to have a second account, on Webull, where I can still trade options and still make videos on. So don't worry, the options trading is not going away. It's just moving accounts to a smaller account and away from the Robinhood. So because I know that's what pretty much all of you are here for, is to watch me sell options, trade options. But I'm just moving it to a smaller account, and I'm focusing up and really just for the future, investing for the long term in this account, because I've been underperforming the S&P 500 this entire time. And I know I did invest into SPY entirely here, and then of course eventually I switched up and said, hey, maybe I could try selling options again. I did it. It was a lot of work, a lot of stress, and I still underperformed SPY. One example, year to date on our portfolio, down $100. Year to date on SPY is up 7.4%, and I was spending hours upon hours setting up these trades, setting up my spreadsheet, and doing all that stuff, just to underperform by 8 or 9%, when I could have just bought this and never even opened my account again, and made like $640 this year on year to date. Instead I've lost $100, which is kind of ridiculous, but you can kind of see where I'm coming from with that. Like I said, I was saying this is an experiment ever since I started doing it, this whole option selling thing. This secondary experiment when I switched from SPLG back to selling options, it was an experiment, and now we've learned. It was good, we had good returns. I think we made around $300 overall from the whole secondary options trading experiment. But the problem is we still underperform SPY with so much effort. So yeah, I'm making this the long-term account with $8,000, not taking any of it out, not selling this ever. And then I'm going to use my Webull account as a way to experiment with options and have fun and make videos for this channel. Because I think for the longest time I had a very unhealthy relationship with trading, if that makes sense. I was pouring all my money into this account all the time. I never had money to spend in my bank account, and I was always trying to sell options, and it was kind of driving me nuts. You could see, especially like during this period of time when we're just losing, and it can just be very frustrating and stressful. And the long term, you're really not going to beat the benchmark. So that's my thought process behind all that. Have a big bulk of my money in this forever position that I know will grow past anything I could ever trade up to by myself, and just have a much more healthy relationship with investing. As you can see, I also have a reoccurring buy here. The plan with this is that every 2 weeks it's going to pull $100 straight from my bank account, and it'll go straight into SPY. So without me even noticing, I don't have to open the app or do anything. It'll just automatically withdraw from my bank account $100 every 2 weeks and put it straight into SPY for the foreseeable future. So that means this account will grow in NAV through deposits as well as through growth over time. This is kind of one of those things where I could just delete the app for like 30 years and come back to a beautiful looking chart, right? A great account value. So I just needed some sort of long-term, less stressful way of investing, because the option selling part was very fun and we were making a lot of money, but ultimately it was very stressful, and we're underperforming anyways. And I feel like it's good to just have this long-term backbone in my life if I am going to have that second Webull account where I can mess around. So yeah, that is the whole idea behind this. Hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from with that. I know it's kind of weird that I like to switch up so often. You know, I go from like, oh, let's sell options, to, oh, let's go SPLG, to, oh, let's go back to options. I'm really hoping this time will be permanent. For this account, once again, for this account, we're going to have that second account to fuel that options trading, you know, desire or like greed that I always have to trade options, which is kind of funny. It's like actually like unhealthy. I'm always like, man, I really want to just sell options. I really want to buy options. And that always comes back to biting me. It always comes back to this account, and it always comes back to hurting me and underperforming. Matter of fact, I believe if I'm going to show you this here. Since I started this account, we can actually look. I started this account May 31st. We can look at the return of SPY. Yeah, so had we just invested into SPY at the start of this account, we would be up almost 22%. But you can see our return is 6.74%. And that's with me, you know, spending hours upon hours, like looking at companies and collecting dividends and trading options. Like, it's really just it's not working. You know, and the problem is I'm just too emotional as a trader to cut all that noise out and to just live with things. So I think it's good to just have this backbone to run up as I trade options for fun on my secondary account that's much smaller. You know, because 22%, that's like, that would have been like $1,600, $1,600 to $1,800 that I would have made in this account versus, you know, $500, and that's with zero effort. That's with me. I could have just deleted the account. Not to mention we would have been adding money, dollar cost averaging through, you know, this entire downturn. So our return would actually be higher than 22%, which is crazy. But that's the whole thing. Is you know, massively underperforming all the time. So I think it's good to have this Robinhood account be our dedicated long-term SPY backbone, and then to have a much smaller Webull account that maybe, you know, has 100 shares of TSLL, that has 100 shares of SoFi, something like that. Just a smaller account that I can continue to trade options on, continue to experiment on, have fun, make videos on, because that's what you guys are here for, to watch the options videos. But just to have this as my ultimate backbone, where there's no options trading on this account, no margin to tempt me into doing anything, and that I could literally just change the password on and never open for 5 years and come back to success. So that's the idea. But yeah, so thank you for watching this video. Hope to see you in the next one. Drop a comment down below leaving your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.